Hi, you guys. I wanted to go over what you should be doing in class today since I'm not there. The first thing that I want to make sure that you finish, and you should be finishing this within the first half of class easily if you're not finished already, and that is that you've done this Pancakes character analysis chart of Jill. Just a refresher, this first column is what evidence did you find directly from the text that supports that Jill is stressed out or a perfectionist. The second column is where you tell me what you learned from this evidence in your own words. My example here is pretty lengthy, but your example could be shorter. For example, you could say something like, I learned that Jill likes things in an orderly fashion. And that's all you learned about her. That's fine. And then thirdly, the connection to the article is where you are pulling up just this article. Okay, just the 6 common triggers of teen stress, not the other article with anxiety, just this one. And you are looking to see if what you learned about Jill relates to anything in this article. Okay, so for example, on my worksheet, I pulled this out about the romantic relationships are not easy for teenagers. This is a connection that ties in how she feels about Alan. It is realistic that there might be quite a few of these, especially if you focus mainly on her perfectionism, that you do not have a connection to the article. If that is the case, you're simply writing no connection or none, something like that. And that's okay. All right. If every single one of yours is no connection, you need to go back into the text and find another piece of evidence that does connect to that article. But as long as you have 1 or 2 examples in this column, then you're okay. That needs to be finished within the first half of class. Hopefully we are all there, because what you're doing next is you're going to open this assignment. It's the CER Pancakes character analysis. And when you open it, it should look like this. Okay. What you will be doing, phase 2 of this, is you're going to take everything you learned about Jill and you're going to create a claim answering this question that I have highlighted here. Okay. Eventually, you're going to be writing a well-constructed analytical paragraph where you are analyzing Jill as a realistic character. But these are the baby steps that are getting us to that paragraph. So if you look at this assignment, it says, in an essay titled Humor Seriously, Joan Bauer explains that her technique for creating humorous characters involves layering nutty traits over serious personality situations. This is a question you are answering and you are supporting with your argument. Does Joan Bauer effectively develop a quirky character who confronts real-life triggers and signs of teenage stress in a humorous and relatable way? Use specific dialogue descriptions from Pancakes and references from 6 common triggers of teen stress to explain your opinion. So you are answering this question: is Jill a realistic character because of her stress? Okay. So the first thing that you need to do, and this is right here is where you should be focusing today, most of your time, is to write a claim. Your claim should answer that question. Yes, Jill is a realistic character because blah, blah, blah. Or no, she is not realistic. I give you 2 examples. I want you to note that both of these examples are not true to the story. So don't copy them. I wrote things that don't make any sense to the story. So that way I wouldn't take any of your ideas. But it shows you how specific the claim should be. So my first example says, Joan Bauer does not create a realistic character in Jill because the stress that Jill deals with isn't common among teenagers. Okay, so that's one example of a claim that I created based off of what I learned about Jill in this chart. Okay. My second example is Joan Bauer's character Jill in Pancakes is realistic because her stress centers around her academic performance. Again, we know that's not true of this story, but I wanted to give you an example of what a good claim would look like. You obviously want to make that claim true to the story based on what you learned about Jill in this chart. Okay, so definitely we should get to the point where we have a good claim. If you get to the point where you have a good claim, you want to look for evidence. Your evidence should support your claim. I said your evidence should be able to be proven, so it needs to come from this nonfiction text, okay? It should come from this text. And actually, it should really come from your chart. You should have a good piece of connecting material here that could serve as your evidence for your claim. I would assume that that's probably as far as we'll get with people, is the furthest people will get might be that piece of evidence. If you do get a little bit further, then you want to give reasons as to why this is true. Now, your reasons should connect to the character. They are not necessarily things you can prove. So your reasons will come from the story right here. Or again, realistically, they will come from the evidence part right here. Okay? So your goal should be at least to hopefully get to this evidence part. Okay. See you tomorrow.